This is 2000 XR200 I just bought at a pawn shop last weekend, and I just recently cleaned it up, and therefore only paid $1,100 for it at a nearby pawn shop. And my intention with this dirt bike, the XR200, with it being a 2000, is to restore and redo the parts for this header pipe right here, and the back end, this muffler system, and also the potential of replacing the front tire, because it does have some cracks in it, and also replace this rim lock right here. Yeah, because when the rim lock get dirty, rusty, eventually it's going to come apart. And the spokes on here, I've noticed when I was cleaning the front wheel the other day, some of them sort of real loose, where you have to take a spoke tightener and tighten them up. Yeah, that can be a safety hazard. Motor runs good on the bike, and it looked like because all these spokes are loose, at least majority of them, because you can hear them as I pull on them. Yeah, it's like the other owner of this dirt bike had maintenance done on the engine, but always brought it into the shop very dirty as a history, and so it looked like it cost him more money than what he intended. And looked like spokes might be okay on this rear wheel, but they will eventually have to be retightened just to double check for safety reasons. I plan to either keep this bike, or I may sell it after finishing the restoring, and either I'm going to sell it after I restore it, or I may just keep it as a spare dirt bike. But I intend to keep my 400. Yeah, because I rode it a little bit, and the brakes do need to be changed on the front and the rear, and definitely some of the small parts on the front, like this front brake cable, is going to need work, and this front fender, as you can see, it may have been oversized as a spare part that was put on, because it was originally burnt from that header pipe. I definitely would not want to be on one of these and have one of these catch on fire. And this shifter right here really should not be bent like this, because that is strange. But it's actually intended, the XR200R intended as a trail bike, but some of them consider it like a play bike, some of it consider a race bike. But I looked it up in the Wikipedia, and it should be actually under a trail bike. And as you can see, a lot of the parts from the exhaust are rusted, and this Kickstarter right here has rust. It's probably due to the lack of maintenance the other owner that had with this dirt bike. It all looked like the only thing he really took care of was the engine, because the engine runs good, and everything else here and there is spotty. It's going to have to be replaced, like the smaller stuff, but that still costs money too, because with any dirt bike, whether it's Honda or Yamaha, Suzuki, there's always going to be money involved in maintenance, replacing the parts, and you can still get parts for any dirt bike even at a lesser cost, even if they're genuine or aftermarket parts, like places on the internet. I do like this dirt bike, and I just cleaned it up today and yesterday, and I did get majority of the black spots off the seat, because it must have been like a carbon deposit, could have been mold, it could have been oil, and other types of grime. But it looks a lot better now since I cleaned it, but I will be putting XR graphics from 2000 right here. I may put a headlight right here, and I know I might either change this front fender or just look at the possibility of getting this in right here, just cut off just for safety reasons, just to avoid a potential fire hazard. So the gas goes right here. Here's your fuel petcock, your choke switch right here, choke switch, which is usually 3 stages, and your oil dipstick is probably right here. I do have a mechanic that is currently working on my XR400 right now. The XR200 will eventually be restored, and with the parts that it needs, and it either will be used by me or I will sell it to where I can get at least maybe $1,500 out of it. But no decision has been set as of yet. But I know the tires, the tubes, rim locks are going to have to be replaced. And the sprocket on the rear is going to have to be changed out. And the chain is all rusty. And as well as the front sprocket right here will probably just be changed out as well. Yeah, I got a lot of dirt and grime and mud out of that engine area. I'm glad it looks a lot cleaner than the way it was when I picked up at the pawn shop the other day. And it's a shame that the owner before me did not clean this bike up, and he could have gotten more money for it if he had cleaned it up, but I guess I was lucky to get it at $1,100. But it still looks good, just gotta have replacement parts. And it's a good bike, and I plan to eventually start it up since I do have my ABS knee braces on, and also got my XR400 brake disc rotors there. XR400 disc brake rotors, the original ones, and brakes, and one rim lock. As you can see, eventually it's deteriorating. And my older front tire that I had on from 2000. Yeah, the 8121 Maxus, if you can see it. Front tire. The only problem is with these tires, they're soft-tearing, and they say for safety reasons change tires out every 3 years. And here's the IRC tube in here. There's the old rim bands that have rust on them from the rim, which I'm sure was cleaned up. And pulling the IRC substitute tube I had put in there. It's actually like flexible natural rubber to a degree, Japanese bird rubber, and because I still consider myself like a motor bird. I can still reuse these same tubes in my XR400 as a spare. The only problem with these soft-tearing tires is they could lose their structural strength, and I just hate to be that type of person to have an unfortunate accident, even if the beads were to fail, because I do have a knee issue. And here's my rear Maxus dirt bike tire off the XR400. You can see the old rim strap, rubber rim strap right there. I was thinking about still reusing this tire, but I'm a little shaky because once the beads start to deteriorate, dry rot, could be a safety issue. The problem is tires cost so much these days, as with any vehicle, that you still have to maintain them, as you can see. A little bit of cords there showing. Even one time I had to take the tire off, and heat and cold are a rubber's enemy. I had a flat tire with a Maxus tube, but at least the tire can be recycled for something else, like a swing or a toddler maybe. And there's the spare rear tube I got in here, IRC, which I might eventually be able to reuse as a spare. Yeah, my rear tire on my XR400 now is going to be a 120/118. Yeah, as hot as it is out here, on the East Coast, muggy, hot, and humid. Yeah, sweet tea is pretty good. So, as of now, I'm going to start this good XR200R up. And try to get the exhaust on the outside. Got my knee braces just on just to protect me. I'm gonna start this up. Yep. Yeah, my red and black shoes look better on my feet. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and put those on because they're more stable. Because whenever you have loose shoes, it can be a safety matter. Even the boots are more sturdier. So, getting them out of the truck right now. Yeah, my these red and black skateboard shoes. Yeah, these I like these because they're more comfortable than Nike. Even though we're a size 14 and 15 motocross boot. Yeah, just be sure I got the tongue pulled up all the way. So, oh man. Yeah, go ahead. Set the choke. Turn off. Show on. Last time I started fine on the first kick. So I guess we'll see. But at least I got it started, but it went out. The only thing with these carbureted dirt bikes is the Kickstarter. least it runs. Do the choke, unfortunately, again. At least it runs. Yeah, I'm gonna start it up again, see if we can, I can hop off of it and try to get some good old smoke. She's back powering some. Still runs, but you never know, it might have some moisture in the gas tank. Hard to say. Yeah, I even cleaned up this rear wheel, loosened up the lug nut, rim lock. And the rear tube, the valve right here, had some sediment in it. Yeah, I cleaned it up. It looks a lot better than what it did. Because you should always do a pre-trip and a post-trip on any dirt bike before you ride it. Just for safety's sake. Just for your own protection and protection of other people around, other riders. Because if you don't, if somebody had already bought this dirt bike and didn't do the pre-trip, didn't take it and to be checked out prior to riding, they could have ended up with potential injuries, even if all the spokes had failed on the front wheel. And also with the front wheel, you always want to keep the spokes, your rim lock tight, proper air pressure in the tire. Usually with my XR200R, I run about 15-20. Some say that the air pressure is a little more on these tires, but I'll just have to research it or ask a motorcycle mechanic expert like mine. And this rear tire is bald. As you can see, there's not much tread left because I plan to put a 130/90/17 on it, and might get it in a Pirelli, and have to get a replacement tube as well too, probably Pirelli or what's available, like V rubber if it's available. If Maxxis made the tube, they make the tire in this size. If they made the tube, I would definitely buy the tube and the tire, as well as for the front. But I might buy the V rubber front tire or a Sedona front 8121 and tube also for it in the front, and always probably grease the tube in the front tire, so like when you do your turns or your cornering, just so that you won't get a pinch point. Yeah, because eventually some of these throttle cables, brake cables are going to have to be changed out. And here's stop engine switch right here. And just rethinking, turn my gas flow off, just so I don't get gas stuck in that carburetor, so the carburetor don't have to be cleaned. Because once gas runs the carburetor, then the carburetor would have to be worked on. But I like this dirt bike. So it's actually a fixer-upper, which I plan to do. Please comment and like. Thanks.